regulations called the GMP, Good Manufacturing Practice. It's actually a set of regulation laws designed by FDA. But remember, it's not designed for food supplements. It's actually designed for pharmaceuticals. Because pharmaceuticals has to be produced in such a fashion the quality is absolutely controlled. Because you want your patients to have the same medication every single time. For supplements, no such requirement. But FKC voluntarily subject all our products for GMP regulation since day one. For a simple reason, for a very selfish reason, I just want to sleep better at night. I don't want to worry about this batch going to be good or that batch going to be bad. Every single batch is controlled. I need to explain GMP a little bit more because a lot of you here in the Philippines heard about GMP regulation, but you don't. The meaning of GMP here in the Philippines is different from GMP in the U.S. When people come to me and say, "Kenny, is GMP very easy to be certified?" I say, "Yeah, it's easy. You know why? Because the regulation is there. Just follow the regulation. You do everything by the paper, by the book, you will be certified." However, the most difficult part is maintaining GMP because it's not a one-time deal. It's not like you're certified for GMP, you're good for life. Every 6 months, our products has to go through GMP certification. If you go to our website right now, we actually have a scanned copy. Actually, one of our booklets also has a scanned copy of our GMP certification. It's only good for 6 months. So every 6 months, we have to submit our documentation for FDA for regulation. And FDA also schedule unexpected visit to the facility and making sure. So this is doing a boring thing every single day. Think about this. If you have to do everything, every move, how you wash your test tube, how you clean your room, how you prepare your sample, every single thing you do is controlled by the government. Everything has to be documented. It's a very, very tough job. Right? But for me, that's one of the major things making me sleep better, at night. So I know our products are controlled. So luckily for us, for the last 11 years, FKC's products has been on the market. We never had a single incident of adverse effect because of FKC products quality. We don't have that. If you applaud to that, you actually don't applaud and will wish that other thing will happen. Because if there is a quality-related issue to FKC products, you're guaranteed by $5 million US. That's the insurance we purchase on our products. So that's one of the ways to become a millionaire. Okay. So that's the quality part. This is very important because you cannot just assuming a product from the U.S. is the high quality. Because actually 90 to 95% of products, supplements, sold in the U.S. on the shelf are not GMP certified. Why? They're not required to do so. By doing GMP certification, you significantly increase the cost of your production because there's just tons of paperwork. Has to be, or you have to hire experts, scientists to be able to follow the regulation. As simple as that. Okay, so that's the fact of our products. When we go and look at the products, this is go back to 11 years. Okay, when we design the product, I have two things in my mind. Okay, number one thing is, what is food supplement designed for? You have to understand this. Because I already told you earlier, we are no longer in the domain of pure food supplements. But because today we can eat everything we need from the food. Especially here in the Philippines, we can have all the nutrients, all the minerals, everything. We still have people who have unbalanced diet, but that's not the majority. Majority of us have the proper intake already. So what is the number one issue we have? The number one issue we have is every day we're being challenged by the environment we're living in. Right? Again, as I told you earlier, our body is not trained for the lifestyle we have today. Sometimes I tell people, I say, do you know where is the largest McDonald's in the world? Everybody will be saying New York, Los Angeles. I know it's actually in Beijing, China. It has 79 cash registers. Wow. And can serve thousands of people at the same time. And when you go there, there is not a line. It's a flood of people. You come in on one side and you go out on the other side. And then the serving area is like plaza. We have 79, I mean, think about it, just imagine 79 cash registers, sitting next to each other, it's incredible. When you walk on the streets of Manila, when you walk on the streets of Beijing, when you walk on the street of Shanghai, or you walk on the street of New York City, you will see all those, what we call Burger King kids. We call those McDonald's babies. Right? They all look like a tire. Right? They're all overweight, they don't exercise. In the U.S., the numbers are very appalling. I have a personal experience of this because I fly a lot. Sometimes I get bored. So one time I was on Alaska Airlines, flying from Oakland to Orange County. My seat is 1A, so I was the first one at the airplane. I got on very early that day, so I was sitting there. I take out a book, put on my on my leg, and I was reading it. But when people passing by me, I can see them. For some reason, on that day, I started counting. First one comes past by, I say, fat. Next one, I say, fat. The people just screaming, and there's about 220 some people passing by me on that day. So overweight, obese, fat. So at the end of it, I did the tally. Roughly about 60 to 65% are overweight. Statistically speaking, that's the overweight population in the U.S. as well. Right? So sometimes I literally see one guy sitting in the lap of another woman because they're both too big for one seat. No joking at all. It was so ridiculous. Eventually, the flight attendant come over and said, "Sir, I'm going to offer you a different seat in the front because both of them are bigger than one seat." Incredible. So the food intake is incredible. Okay. And also today, if you pay any attention to the news, and you will realize that air pollution is incredible. Okay. I remember in 2010 when I came to the Philippines for the very first time. When the plane was ready to land, the pilot was announcing, "Welcome to Manila." I looked over the window, I couldn't find it. You see, everything is just so murky, right? And then the airplane started dying down. I'm like, oh my God, please make sure we have radar off because you really don't know where the airport is. And the guy was just dying down. And after we get really close to the ground, everything started to clear up, and then we landed. Okay. And then once I get out of the airport, I realized I'm actually still in the airport because everything wasn't moving. Right? There's so many cars. You can see the air pollution. You don't need to smell it. You don't feel it. You can see the air pollution. That's the environment we're in right now. Okay. I don't know the statistics here in the Philippines, but in the U.S., in the drinking water, they find 200 different chemicals, ranging from daily detergent all the way to pills, contraceptive, drugs, and so on and so forth. If they can find 200 different components in the U.S. drinking water, how much do you think they can find here in the Philippines? I would imagine at least 200. Right? When your water is not clean, everything else is not clean. When you grow the crops, you use the water. When you wash, you use the water. You can get rid of bacteria from the drinking water very easily, but you cannot get rid of chemicals from the drinking water that easily. So all of this is causing problem. And the worst of the worst is the Filipino food. Okay, I've been invited to many Filipino families and to have dinner or have parties with them. I never see anything green. You have seafood, you have deep fried seafood, you have salty seafood, you have salty seafood for breakfast. And the one I love most is the pork belly, and you fry it. You want to make sure you have enough fat in it. Right. So all of that. So when I first came here, when I was doing our first batch of FKC members are actually government officials. There was a reason I made them members, because they realized we need to get approval right away. They asked me to do presentation. At that time, no one had any exposure to FKC products yet. So I didn't really know where to start, because for me to go through the products will take about 3 hours. They don't have 3 hours. So I asked them, I said, what are the 3 major issues facing Filipinos today on a daily basis? Okay, they say, okay, there are 3 issues that we have concern with. Number one issue is diabetes. I have a lot of people suffer from diabetes today. That's number one thing. I say, okay, diabetes, what does that tell you? It's a lifestyle-related issue. Right? It's as simple as that. Some people say it's genetics, but trust me, it's more lifestyle-related than genetics. Okay. What is the second issue? It's arthritis. Again, it's a lifestyle-related issue. Right? You don't get hit by a car and say I have arthritis. Right? It's a lifestyle-related issues. Right? And then what is the third one? So they say overweight. They go, well, that's somehow related to diabetes as well, because you have a higher rate of diabetes versus in overweight population versus the regular weight population. So all of the issues that we're facing every day are not really cancer, are not really dramatic disease, but just all these average issues. But at the same time, there are also issues you may not aware as the top one, but it's so critical to our life, which, for example, hepatitis. Especially in Asia, hepatitis is a major issue. It's contagious, it can cause a lot of problems, and also it doesn't kill you actually. It doesn't kill you right away. It actually reduces your quality of life and it makes you, I think this is the worst part, makes you a burden of your family. Right? So after I'm telling you all of this, what's my point? My point is FKC products are designed when you have an issue related to your lifestyle. This is the most important thing. So we're not here to say, oh, I have a deficiency in calcium, take the calcium. No. When you are polluted, what do you have in your body? You have toxins. It doesn't matter how much vitamins you take. It doesn't matter how much calcium. It doesn't matter how much vitamin C you take. Your toxins are still inside toxins. You need to help your body to get rid of it. That's as simple as that. Right. When you have a fatty liver because of your diet, no vitamin can help you. You have to do two things. One is stop eating the way you are. Second is taking products to help your liver to regenerate or heal itself. That's what it is. We have to understand. I think what I'm telling you right now is more important than the individual components of the product, because those you can always research online. Okay, what I'm telling you is based on the past 11 years experience, and it's a lot of articles I've read. Another important thing, about those supplements, I already told you several information. Let me summarize very shortly. Okay, number one, supplements are designed for different purposes. Not all supplements are the same. There are typically 4 different generations or 4 different types. So we understand that. Second, for a supplement to work, you have to understand the active ingredients so you can do quality control. And the third, our products are controlled not only by FKC but by FDA as well. Okay. And the last thing before I dive into individual products, you have to understand the difference between food supplements and medicine. FKC is not selling medication and medicine. But you say, Kenny, based on my personal experience, they're almost like the same, right? I have certain issues. I can either take medicine or I can take FKC products, and I will see, also help improve my condition. Is it same, or why is not? Why I cannot call FKC product as medicine? For a simple reason, they're designed and they function differently. How a medicine works doesn't matter what kind of medicine. Medicine is working almost as interference. Right? For example, if you have a cut, you have a bacteria that goes into your bloodstream. We take antibiotics. What does antibiotics do? They attack those bacteria right away. It doesn't rely on your immune system. It just assumes your immune system is not there. It works on it right away. Right? When you have cancer, people give you chemo. What does the chemo do? It goes to the target and try to kill those bacteria, those cancerous cells. It doesn't rely on your immune system. So what the medication is almost like an emergency remedy. Something bad happened to you, something very accurate happened to you, something very critical happened to you. It comes in, it doesn't assuming yourself have any kind of capability and try to solve that problem for you. Because of that purpose, because of that reason, several things may happen. Number one thing is, you may develop dependency on it. Like, for example, for those people who are diabetic, they take medications, you may see the trend is as they grow older, they start to take more and more medication. Because their body, because medication never assumed your body has any capability. And because of they're very strong, your body depends on them more. So your body gradually loses its own capability and depends on medication more. Right? So that's number one thing. Is your dependency becomes greater and greater. And the second thing is, it comes in as a blunt force. Like the way we, for example, when we do chemo, this is almost like a shotgun solution. It's trying to kill the cancer cell before it kills you. Right? That's what it is. So this is why chemo are well defined. There's a time frame. You cannot be on chemo all the time. Right? It's usually defined 1 month or 2 months period. And during this process, you're constantly checking, the health of your kidney, the health of your liver, and so on and so forth. Right? Because this thing chemical will just come in and it just basically do harm, not only to the cancer cells, but also to the healthy cells. So it's not a harmony with your body. Right? So all of that. And the third, of course, certain medicines have a lot of side effects. Right? You take this, you have a big side effect. And sometimes those side effects are very significant, so the doctor will advise you to say, you can take this, but you cannot take this for too long, because the side effects will actually cause you more harm than solving it. What does the supplement do? Or what does products like FKC's products do? We don't assuming your body doesn't do anything. Actually, we come in and we try to help your body to be able to fight those situations even more. Well, so because of that, when your issue is related to lifestyle, our products really shine. Right? Because our products come in and work with your body, increase your immune system, help your body to do antioxidation, help your liver to be more efficient to get rid of the toxins, so we can work with it. So if it's lifestyle-related, FKC product really works. But when you have an emergency, you get hit by a car and you say, what product should I take? Let's go to the hospital. Right? And also, we need to intervene early enough. We maintain our car when it's brand new. Same thing, our body has to be maintained when it's brand new. I was always joking with people. I say, don't call me when you're on the back of the ambulance, and with your liver bleeding and say, Kenny, what product should I use? You're already outside my domain. When your liver is healthy, you should use our products. When you're not healthy, when you have that emergency situation, you need to see a doctor. Right? So a lot of companies, when they do presentations talk about their products, they ask you to read a book to say what your doctors will do that will actually kill you, or the things your doctor don't know will kill you, something like that. So they basically try to make doctors your enemies. At FKC, our concept is totally different. Personally, I can't, because 60% of my relatives are doctors. My mom is a pathologist, my father is a cardiovascular. So I grew up in hospitals. Right? But the most important thing is, we are not against medicine. We are just working at a different stage of the medicine, of the health. We work with medicine together. What we are also doing is we are giving doctors more weapons or more tools to maintain health. I always tell people the responsibility of a doctor is not to cure disease. The responsibility of the doctor is to maintain health. Don't ever forget about it. Right? Sometimes we have this habit. When you try to buy a product or when you try to introduce a product to other people, they always say, oh, God, this thing is $50, too expensive, or this thing is 1,000 pesos, too expensive. They actually never questioned their doctor's prescription. Now, when a doctor gives you a prescription, you think it works by this. Can I take twice a day instead of one time? Can I double the dosage myself because I want to get rid of this disease? But they never think about it. Our purpose is, let's don't wait for that long. We have a specialist, Dr. King, as our medical doctor in the U.S. He's trained from Chicago University. He has all the degrees you can think of. I'm sure you all know this. In the U.S., medical doctors make a lot of money, right? But when he comes to FKC, so I was actually surprised after he was hired, after we become friends. I actually asked him because I think it's a little bit rude at the beginning asking the question. As a doctor, you're well trained, right? Why you come to FKC and help us with this? He said, Kenny, as a doctor, it's almost like I'm watching the final episode of all the TV series. Because I'm an emergency room doctor, I'm trained in cancer therapy. So when people come to me, it's always when they have a terminal ill. I'm watching the final episode of the TV series, and it's always a sad ending. And there's nothing I can do about it. Right? But I know if I intervene early enough, if I, in episode 1, I just change the script a little bit, I know in episode 20, the result will be different. Now, when they come to me, it's already episode 20. All I can do is to prolong that episode 20 a little bit longer. But their quality of life is different, and usually it's much more expensive to do that. So this is the reason, I'm still practicing medicine, but this is the reason I get involved with FKC, is I won't get involved early enough. That's the difference. You may be running 5 minutes a day. Trust me, 5 minutes running a day will make your life run much longer. Don't get a cancer. Where's the treadmill? Don't run. It doesn't work that way. Right. So once you understand that supplements and medicine are designed differently, they function differently, this is why, because the public is helping the body to be stronger, there is no dependency on our products. We're not going to be addicted to FKC products, but you may be addicted to certain medications. Right. So our products are very safe to use. So now let me go to the products. We have 15 products, but we brought to 13 of them. When people look at a product, they will say, "Hey, Kenny, how do I use them?" Right? There's so many of them. I don't know the components. What's the best way for them to? Yeah. Or who should I recommend? Should I recommend to the healthy people, or I should recommend to a regular person, so on and so forth. As well, actually, we have a system built in to make it very easy to do that already. Okay, when you look at the name of the product and you don't understand what that means, the product is for everybody. Right? When you look at the bottle, it says ingredient. What does that mean? I don't know. It's actually a Latin word for natural talent. But without me telling you, without you go to Google or dictionary, you don't understand what ingredient means. Right? So ingredient is for everyone. Okay. When we say try antioxidant, what does that mean? I don't know. It doesn't relate to anything. It's for everybody. For everyone. Right? When we say liverite, everybody knows that's for liver. Right? Who do you recommend? Anyone with a liver problem. Right? When we talk about joint again, you give to people with joint issues. So on and so forth. So it's very easy for you to understand by just look at the names. When you don't know the names, don't know the meaning of the name, it's for everybody. Okay? So let me start with something pretty simple. Again, the way I do presentations is from simple from something more specific to something more generic. So it's easier for you to remember the situation. We have a pair of products. One is called Stomach Pure, one is called Regenesis. Okay, this actually came from a trip that I made in China in 2008 or 2007, I forgot. Some people ask me, hey, since FKC products are not based on traditional Chinese medicine, so where's the recipe coming from? Our recipe typically coming from 2 different sources. The number one source is actually we're working with top universities in the States. Right. In the universities, when they have PhD programs, typically what they do is they have a PhD or group of PhD students. They are creating some kind of a subject. They will apply for grants for that subject. And they do research. Sometimes they do animal studies, human studies. They're not called clinical trials because they don't involve enough patients. Usually about 30 to 50 people. That's a pretty big human studies already. At the end of their research, what they produce, paper. They have a graduation thesis that which gives them a PhD degree. They take that paper and they put it in the library, and they never visit it again. Hopefully someday, some other scientist might search. These days with the internet, it's easier. In the old days, it's very difficult to find that article to say, oh, here's some good information. What FKC is doing is we have a group of scientists constantly scanning the latest documentations or thesis from the universities, so we can work with them and convert some of that into products that we have. Relactin is an example, China is an example, Stomach Pure is an example. Yeah, during my trip to China at that time, I invited a lot of high-ranking government officials to have dinner with me. But I find a very interesting problem is we were very friendly, the conversation was very funny, we were having a good time, but they were not eating. I'm like, okay, I set up this thing, I ordered the food, they're not eating, something wrong with me. Right? So afterwards, I asked the entourage, I said, hey, what is this? How come, governor doesn't like this food, blah, 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 and so forth. They said, well, actually, Kenny, there's nothing wrong with your food. But trust me, because of their position, they have the same meal 5 times a day. Right, they have enough seafood. They have a lot of, all these great dishes people probably, doesn't have access to, but they have so many times. So they all have stomach ulcer. So what they do is they actually don't eat, but when they go home, they eat congee, they eat the homemade cooking that they have. So, and then I started to pay attention. I realized actually the stomach ulcer is not just an issue in China, but also in many countries, especially in Asia. So when I go back to the States and I talk to the doctors, the PhDs in-house, I say, let's investigate stomach ulcer, let's find out what is the causes of this, and then let's see whether we can develop any products. Luckily for us, the year before I said this, there were 2 scientists from Austria who were rewarded Nobel Prize exactly because of their study in stomach ulcer. In 1980, I think it's 84, they find there's a correlation between a bacteria called H. pylori to stomach ulcer. Actually, 80% of stomach ulcer is created or caused by this bacteria. They were able to prove it one way or another. They were brave enough, do an exam on themselves. They don't have a stomach ulcer. They have a petri dish of this bacteria. They drink it, and then sometime later they check again. They have stomach ulcer. So they were able to prove the correlation. And also, one alarming thing that they also find out is 100% stomach cancer patients have this bacteria. It's so significant. The World Health Organization actually labeled H. pylori as a carcinogen, meaning the agent that can cause cancer. Right. So we were so lucky to find, there's such rewards out there. There's a lot of scientists already developed studies around this. So our Stomach Cure was based on not one article, but hundreds of different research papers out there, and come with a solution. Okay. Inside the Stomach Cure, what do we have? We have specific components that you can kill this bacteria. This bacteria is actually, I'm just going to use this one product as a little more detailed explanation so you understand why I say every component and FKC product has purpose. This particular bacteria is very nasty. Why? Most of bacteria do not survive our stomach acid. Our stomach acid is very acidic. It's about pH 2. And the purpose of that is to kill bacteria. So most of the bacteria does not survive in our stomach. But this little guy can survive. And even worse, is using the acidity as its own advantage. What does it do? It actually creates a small cut on our stomach. When you have just like you have a cut on your skin, what does your body do? Your immune system can trigger, can wakes up. So all the immune cells will rush to the cut and try to find any possible invasion. But when they come to the cut, they're being exposed to our very own stomach acid. Our own immune cells will be killed by our own stomach acid. And when those cells die, they explode. They release their internal nutrients, and H. pylori will feed off on that. So it's using our stomach as a little fishing ground and against our own immune system. Because of that, our immune system is not effective in this environment against this. Traditional medicine, Western medicine, what do? We basically give antibiotics to try to kill this bacteria. But there's 2 problems with this approach. Number one approach is, again, because the environment is very acidic, antibiotics doesn't work very well. So what does our doctors do? They give us another medication to neutralize the acid. Now we have a catch-22 situation. The reason we have acid is to kill bacteria. Now we neutralize it so we can kill a different kind of bacteria. So by doing that, we made ourselves more vulnerable because we neutralize our own defense system. Right, that's number one thing. And second thing is, this particular bacteria mutates pretty well. So whatever is working today, it doesn't work tomorrow. What FKC has is based on the research of the scientists out there. We take a particular active ingredient from, you may be surprised, broccoli, something we eat every day, as active. And in the lab, it shows it's very effective in terms of kill this bacteria. You may say, hey, Kenny, I think since it's from the broccoli, why don't I just don't take the product and eat more broccoli every day? Okay. The problem is, the broccoli we use is the broccoli, when it first came out, when it's the size of your thumbnail. As the broccoli grows up and become mature, this active ingredient will degrade. So no matter how much broccoli you eat at home, you will not get active ingredient. So we have to do this. Okay. So number one thing, we use this active ingredient to kill this bacteria. Okay. But at the same time, we notice if you are just for protective purpose, right? If you're just if you don't have any stomach ulcer, if you just take the product, then that's all you need. However, there are two things that's very alarming to us. Number one, 50% of population has this bacteria. Everybody have a sign of relief, and I know a number in their head. I'm out of 50%, right? Unfortunately, the Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Filipino, your chance is 100%. So every single one of us sitting in this room has this bacteria. And even worse, even if you take medications and kill all the bacteria in your body, but because of your parents, your siblings have this. Okay, let me ask you this. You don't have to answer to me. This is a very personal question. How many of you, when you eat at home, and you use a shared spoon or a shared chopsticks? You know, your mom was using that fork. Oh, I can use it. Right? You know, that's what family do, right? We share a lot of things. When you share your utensils, you also share the bacteria. Right? So when you have an H. pylori, even if you take medication to get rid of it, the cross-contamination is always there. This is super critical. So it's not so in addition to this active ingredient to kill the bacteria, what we also put in is we put in ginger extract that helps to protect your stomach if your stomach is already has an onset of the ulcer or some kind of damage. And also we give you zinc. Zinc is also important to help to recover the membrane of the stomach. I mean, that's a common knowledge. However, most people don't notice is zinc and copper, they're actually both are using the same biological pathway inside our body. So when they give you too much zinc, when they give you supplement for zinc, it's going to fight the same biological pathway for absorption against the copper. So when they give you too much zinc, you're going to have a deficiency in copper. What do? We put copper in the bottle as well. So again, as I said, our product is not very complicated. We don't have hundreds of components, but there's only a few components in it. We know exactly we give you, right? So good thing for you is, the bad news is we all know we don't have it. The good news is when you take this product, it will help you to clean your body and kill it. Okay, and even better news, this is not a product you need to take every single day. You know, you can basically start a bottle, and then finish it, and then stop a few months, and then try it again. Okay, but this is only half of the solution, right? You have a bacteria, we kill it. But what about cross-contamination? What about you have more bacteria, then they come back to you? What will that happen? So we have a supplementary product called Regenesis. What inside Regenesis? What does Regenesis mean? I don't know. So what does that tell you? For everyone. Right. Inside Regenesis is actually 6 different kinds of probiotics. Okay, so it's very beneficial for you. Probiotics survives in our intestine and then it grows. Actually, as a matter of fact, if you don't have probiotics in your intestine, you're not here because you're dead already. Our human body cannot survive without probiotics. Where do we get our initial probiotics from? From mother's milk. As a newborn baby, we don't have probiotics. It's from mother's milk that gives us the probiotics. This is why people say one of the reasons breastfeeding is better than bottle, because so far we haven't been able to reproduce mother's milk artificially. Okay. Good thing for you is the 2 kinds of the probiotics that can be found in mother's milk is in Regenesis as well. Regenesis has a total of 6 different kinds of strain of the probiotics. And people say, what is the other source? A good source of probiotics is actually yogurt. The yogurt we eat every day, right? But there's 2 problems. There are actually 3 problems we have with yogurt. Number 1 problem is usually the way yogurt is fermented, the species or the type of bacteria is not controlled. So we know you have a collection of good bacteria, but exactly which kind, you have to do analysis. It's not controlled. So different batch of yogurt may give you different bacteria and it may give you different concentration of the bacteria. Versus our Regenesis is actually purified. Okay, so that's number one thing. We know exactly what's inside of it. And the second thing with that is a lot of the yogurt, to make it tasteful, they add all the sugar in it. And also it's because it's milk-based. So for those people who are lactose intolerant, you cannot eat yogurt. And also for those people who want to control their weight, they cannot eat yogurt. Okay, now that's the second reason. The third reason, each little capsule contains 6 billion counts of active bacteria. You have no idea what 6 billion means. So let me explain to you. In the States, the way we sell yogurt is similar bottle like this. A little bit, not as tall as this, a little bit, it's a little shorter. The opening is roughly the same size. The bottom is a little bit bigger, so it's in a little jar. Okay, so now you have a rough idea how big this yogurt box is, right? One single capsule of Regenesis equivalent to roughly 25 bottles of yogurt. So you have a choice. You have a choice. You take 25 yogurt in the morning or one capsule of Regenesis. Oh, by the way, we recommend you one in the morning or one at night. Okay? So you can see Regenesis is much more efficient in terms of your use. Also, good news to you is Regenesis is not a product you need to take every day. Because what we are actually doing is we're not, most of the bacteria that you eat, the probiotics you eat, will not survive in your stomach. Okay, this is why the 6 billion is so critical, because most of them will be killed by your stomach. So, but because of our volume is high enough, so sufficient of them will survive and then also go to your intestine. And once it's inside intestine, it's going to grow there and actually multiply. Right. So basically, what we're giving you is actually the seed for probiotics. This is very, very important. So once you finish your bottle, you should have good enough seed there already, so it's going to multiply and maintain it. However, several things may harm that. Number one thing is anything that's high fat and high salt is bad for probiotics. Also, when you have any infection, when you go to your doctors, they give you something called broad-spectrum antibiotics, which in plain English is kills everything. They just give you biotics that kills all bacteria, good or bad. So when you have that, you're going to have a problem. So this is some people may actually suffer from. They have an infection, they take antibiotics, the infection goes away, but what they end up with? Diarrhea. Why? Because good bacteria will kill from your intestine. You have to take more Regenesis to regenerate that. So this is also important. If you take antibiotics, don't take Regenesis at the same time because you're simply wasting money. Okay, after you're done with your antibiotics, then you can reintroduce Regenesis to your body. Okay, the benefits of probiotics is mild. I don't want to repeat too much of that. But just remember, Sun Pure and the Regenesis, they can couple together. Personally, I take Regenesis on a daily basis. I can take Sun Pure on a daily basis because Regenesis, because it helps our digestive system, but it will actually help you to lose weight as well. Any human body at any time, you have about 10 to 50 pounds of undigested food in your body. Depends on your body size. And the longer those undigested foods stay in your body, the worse it can harm to your body. Right? So this is why when people have a constipation and they may develop other issues, it's simply because they're not getting rid of those weight fast enough. And Regenesis will be a great choice for that. Okay. And if you're recording this, I need you to turn off your recording for a second. I'm going to tell you something about the Regenesis we don't tell people in public. Okay, there's one application, the Regenesis is not in any documentation you can find. Because they are probiotics, so when women has infection down there, Regenesis can be used externally. Okay, so what you do is basically at night after taking a shower, some people just put the entire Regenesis as far as they can, or sometimes they just open it and then use, you better wear a glove, wet, and get the powder and then put it as far as you can. We never tell people this because if I did, no man will take the product. But it's very good to help you to reestablish good bacteria for women. So it fights a lot of like yeast infection and other type of women hygiene infections. So this is a very important. Okay. Next I'm going to talk about is joints. Joint again. This is actually a fairly simple product to talk about. Our joint is a very simple structure. It's like a tree, and then the tree has a lot of leaves. Yes. Okay, and so it works like a sponge. The tree or the branches are something we call glucosamine, and then the leaves are sugar. Okay, and then when the structure is intact, it's going to absorb a lot of water. So when you move around, or exercise any kind of pressure on it, it's going to function like a sponge. As you can imagine, this structure gets damaged or wear out every single day. When we were younger, our body automatically do repair as much as we can, so you don't feel anything. But as we get older, or when you have an injury, or when you have some kind of disease, this capability of regeneration will simply go away or diminish, and then you start to have problems with the joints. With the joints, sometimes I tell people, I say human body is complicated, but at the same time it's also very simple. Okay, when you have a cut, paper cut, or any kind of cut on your skin, what does your body do? As I said earlier, your immune system will wake up and come in here and try to fight it. So what do you see? Several things can happen to you, right? One is inflammation. You have a swelling of the tissues here, which is not a bad thing. It's actually your body fighting against outside bacteria. And then in more severe conditions, the second thing that happens, you have a fever. Your body temperature increases. When your body temperature increases, everything become running faster. It's more the molecules just simply move faster. Your cells become more active. Your immune system become more efficient. So fever is also not a bad thing. It's also your body try to fight infections. It's only when you have very high fever or extended time of fever, your body will get hurt. Okay. So when you have a bone touching another bone, remember the joint get hurt already. So before, the two bones are not touching each other. They're working together through a sponge-like structure. But when this structure gets damaged, the two bones will start to scratch each other. When you get scratch each other, what do you have? You have a cut. Our immune system is thinking, hey, I have a cut. What do? I'm going to go there. I'm going to fight any possible bacteria. But there is no bacteria. This happens within your joint. Right? So you start to have inflammation. Your joints start to hurt, swollen, you feel pain. But there is no bacteria. So if any doctor gives you antibiotics, it doesn't work. There is no bacteria to kill. But what does doctors give you today? A lot of them give you antibiotics. It's completely useless. So what FKC do is, number one, we give you inside our joint again is glucosamine. Remember I told you the tree structure, we have the leaves has the sugar, and the sugar is the glucosamine. The glucosamine we provide you will basically providing, again, let's go back to what I said very, very earlier. What we're doing is we give you enough components or nutrients to force your joint towards the pathway we want them to be. So you have more sugar, you have more nutrients, so your joint will basically heal itself faster. Right? It's leveraging, improving the recovery of your own body. It's important. And the second, if you look at the joint, it's basically the component is divided into two different groups. The first group is basically the glucosamine. The second group is a collection of herbs. What does it do? One thing, fight inflammation. Right. So this is why when people have a joint issue, when they take our joint again, in very short, sometimes 1 day, sometimes 4 to 5 days, the joint feel much better. This is actually a risky sign. You know why? Because a lot of people say, oh, it doesn't hurt anymore, I'm going to stop. No, your joint is not 100% recovery yet. You need to take more joint again. You know why? Because the metabolism rate of glucosamine is 15 days. So whatever you take the glucosamine today, you will not become part of a tissue until at least 15 days later. So in 4 or 5 days, the reason the pain went away is because the inflammation is gone, but the joint is still not healthy, so you should continue to take it. Okay. So, but if you're young, if you have some kind of injury, if you have some kind of issue with your joint, you take the joint again, it's okay. But if you become older, as your joint become less dependable, you pretty much have to take joint again for a long time. Okay. In the first 2 years, FKC was actually in Los Angeles area famous for joint again. When people come to FKC say, Kenny, where's the joint again? I said, let me talk to you about China first before I talk to you about joint again. But this is one of the products you will see a really fast response very early on. Usually, for people who suffer from arthritis or pain related to the joint, you will see results in about 28 days. Each bottle lasts 45. So before they finish a bottle, they will see the results. There are several warnings I have to tell you. Number one is when you take joint again, you have to drink a lot of water. Why? Remember I told you the tree structure? The only way the tree structure works is holding the water. So by simply taking the sugar without taking more water, it's not going to work. So when you take joint again, it will make you thirsty, and you should drink as much water as you can. Typically, we recommend about 8 glasses of water each day. Well, people say, 8 glasses, what do you mean 8 glasses? Well, we all drink Coke, right? Each Coke is about 12 ounces, fluid ounce, with the big Coke bottle. So you need to drink about 8 bottles of that Coke to have sufficient water in your body. Of course, if you drink a lot of soup, if you take a lot of food that contain water, you're okay. But if you eat a lot of meat, you need more than 8, because all the digestion of the protein needs a lot of water as well. Right? So that's something you need to be careful. That's number one thing. Second, it doesn't happen to everyone, but it happens to sufficient people. When they have a joint pain and they take joint again, it hurts even more. I have been cursed so many times because the people, when they introduce the product to other people, didn't tell me this morning. Why? For a single reason. Because when you introduce FKC products, your body starts to heal. So this is engine stopped. You give them fuel, and so the engine starts running. When the engine is running, it's creating a lot of byproducts. And the byproduct will accumulate in the area where the engine is running. So your joint will actually hurt more. Okay, this is called detoxification effect. Okay, the important thing is if it doesn't bother you, I would just recommend people cut it out because your body is reacting to what you're eating. But drink a lot of water because this will help you to flush the toxins out of the body as much as you can. Of course, you have to watch out. When people just happen to injure themselves, they hit a tree, they didn't notice, and their joint hurt, they're like, oh, it's working. No, it's a tree you hit. Right? You have to be very careful to differentiate between the different cases. Right? So joint again is really beneficial when you have that issue. And also, good news about women. Joint again is also good for your skin because the joint tissues is very similar to the tissues you can find in our skin. So it's also beneficial for your skin. I know Filipinos love to be white, but when I talk about the liver product, I'll talk about that as well. Okay. When we talk about arthritis, there's one particular condition people sometimes confuse it as arthritis, which is gout. You all heard about that? G-O-U-T. No. It feels like arthritis because it's so painful. People would even tell me, Kenny, I was willing to lose that leg, or I was willing to lose that arm because it was so painful. But when it comes to the gout, even though your joint hurts, actually it's a liver issue. Basically, the uric acid is precipitating in your joint and then form some kind of crystal. It's just like putting sand into your joint. Of course, that hurts. Right? But it seems it's a liver issue. What we have is when we run into people with that condition, we also recommend them to take something called the liver right. Okay. I told you earlier there are 5 products I take on a daily basis. Number 1 is Regenesis. Not daily basis, once in a while, but other 4 I take on a daily basis. The first one here is the liver right. Liver is so important to us. I don't want to stress it. But there are several things about liver I do want to tell you. You need to be aware. A liver is one of the very few organs inside our body can regenerate itself. We can regenerate our hair, we can regenerate our fingernails, but we cannot regenerate the arm. Right? Once you lose the arm, you lose the arm for good. Right? We cannot regenerate a nose, a ear, or an eye, but the liver can regenerate itself. You can lose up to 2/3 of the liver. The remainder third will grow back to its original shape and size. So this is why liver donation is possible, because you don't kill one person to save another. The donor can still survive this process. There's good thing and bad thing for you. The good thing is, the bad thing is this, is because the liver has such a strong capability of regenerating and recompensate itself, you won't notice any liver problem unless it's too late, because you don't see any symptom. Right? People with, if you go to see any doctor, they will show you pictures of your liver, start from healthy, from fatty liver, from process to liver cancer. There's a pattern, but you won't feel any pain or anything until you're in the final stage. So usually, especially for younger generation, if you between the age of 25 to 45, usually when you have a liver cancer, it's 3 months. End of the story. Very, very quick, because our liver is so critical to us. So that's the bad news. The good news is, because of the liver can recover, can regenerate itself. So if you find a solution early enough, and you start to take the right approach with it, you can become healthy again. Once you lose that arm, there's nothing we can do. But if your liver has a problem, we can help you to recover, to basically turn back the clock. Okay, what does the liver do? Basically, liver do 2 main things. One is detoxification, right? Inside our we all know all the foods we have is digested by our intestine. But you probably didn't notice this. You didn't know this. Everything that's been absorbed by the intestine doesn't go to the rest of our body. Everything from the capillary aggregates and then form something we call portal vein. Portal means door. Portal vein. This portal vein goes straight to the liver. So everything we absorb from our intestine will not go to the rest of the body until it goes to the liver first. So the liver will basically do a detoxification for us. This is why when you have liver problems, it's so critical, because all the toxins will now go to the rest of the body. So that's the number 1 function of detoxification. The second thing is regeneration. Some vitamins, a lot of the proteins will be synthesized or transformed in the liver. Right? But that's not the main thing we're going to talk about. But the detoxification is the critical thing, because during this detoxification, the process, liver is also producing byproducts that will harm itself. Inside our liver, we already have a lot of antioxidation or antioxidation components to help the liver to protect itself. But sometimes it's not sufficient, sometimes it doesn't work very well. So inside our liver, we have components, basically it's antioxidation. But it's very specifically designed for liver to recover from it. Okay, so liver right is super critical. If I have to say who should use a liver right, if I go through the scenarios, you will realize it's pretty much everybody, right? People smoke, people exposed to smoke, people drink a lot of alcohol, people have pollutions, people are stressed. So that pretty much covers everyone to take a liver right. Again, just like join again, there's a little warning I have to tell you about the liver rights. Some people find after they take a liver right, they can drink a lot more than they used to. We have customers, literally, sounds very funny, but this is a true story. We have a customer write to FKC and says, I realized after taking, liver rights, before I can only have 5 beers, now I can have 10. So should I take liver right before drinking or after drinking to see the most benefits? Well, our answer is liver right is not designed for binge drinking. We're not promoting you to drink more. But because of liver right, make your liver more efficient, so you can get rid of alcohol, which is considered as a toxin by your liver, more effectively, which allows you to feel like, drink more. But it's not designed by that purpose. Actually, mixing alcohol with any kind of food supplement is a bad idea, because alcohol will increase absorption of a lot of the active ingredients, and then your body may end up with too much concentration in a short period of time. So that's one thing you have to notice. Okay, this is very, very critical. There's so many things about the liver. I just don't have enough time, but we understand the liver is important enough, so we have to take it. Okay. The next product, also related to liver right, is called a Cardiomax. Again, there's some function of a Cardiomax we didn't tell you in our book manuals or on the website. Cardiomax, as you can understand, is very simple. Cardio is for your heart, for your entire cardiovascular system. We have 2 eyes, right? In a way, 2 noses, 2 ears, a lot of teeth, right? If we don't have tongue, we're okay. Right? We have 2 lungs, we have 2 kidneys, we can lose up to 2/3 of the liver, we can still survive. Right? We have 2 hands, but we have 1 heart. Our heart starts beating before we are even a fetus. If you look under microscope, when after fertilization, there's only 1 month old. Basically, you only see a cluster of cells. We're not even feeder. We're not even human beings yet. There's already a small cluster of cells grouped together, start to beat. Very, very fast. And we all know when it stops, what happens. Yeah. So this is the most hard-working organ inside our body. Okay. When you have something running that fast, pumping, what does it mean? It burns a lot of energy. Where is that energy coming from? Inside each little cell, every cell, doesn't matter which one, we have something called mitochondria. Mitochondria is a small cell-like structure inside our cells. Some cells have more, some cells have less. This little mitochondria is like a battery. It powers our entire energy. Okay. If you evolutionarily, there's a different story behind it. But the more a particular organ works, the more mitochondria it has. So our heart has high concentration of mitochondria.